Hi, welcome back to Georgia Municipal Association's Live in the Hall. I'm Amy Henderson. We are in the center of the exhibit hall at the Georgia Municipal Association's annual convention here in Savannah. And I'm joined by Lou Comer, my co-host. And also out on the floor talking to our vendors is Aileen Harris, and she's going to be bringing us a number of vendors this afternoon. Joining us now is Bill Price, who is the Executive Director of the Georgia Technology Authority. Did I get that?
It's the broadband program.
The broadband program.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about what
Authority.
you guys are charged with doing. What is it that you're doing for the state
Sure.
for broadband?
Yeah, so ultimately the real goal and objective is to run programs, do projects that help increase Georgia's participation in the digital economy, right, and the benefits from that, right? So some of that is developing good information for public leaders, for business leaders, where is broadband not? Who has it? How fast is it? What technology are they using? Identifying the weak areas of the state for planning purposes, right?
Okay.
So that's one of them. Another program area is regional planning, where we're going to do 12 regional digital economic strategies. So we're working with the regional planning commissions and their staff, and we're funding that. So that's going to kick off July 10th.
Okay.
And run about a year and a half. Right, so at the outcome of that, right, so in every community, right, as part of the regions, they'll be meeting and we'll be bringing in information and experts, and they'll be meeting with service providers and business leaders and talking about the issues and, identifying opportunities, gaps, weaknesses, threats. What do we have to do to, increase our participation and benefit in business or government or citizens, right?
You guys are doing this basic mapping program where you're trying to figure out where is there broadband?
Well, we've done that.
Okay.
And we've been doing that since 2010.
Okay.
And we'll keep doing that through 2014.
Keep adding
we have
information.
We do have maps, and they're online. There's an online tool where you can turn things off, zoom in, zoom out, things like that.
What is the state of broadband in Georgia?
Well, Georgia runs about middle of the pack in terms of the United States, right? It's not in the top 10. It's not in the bottom 20. It's really kind of in the middle. And as you suspect, being a very rural state, we absolutely have areas where the speeds are slower. We have areas where there is no broadband service. So we have people that, want it, right? I mean, everybody gets it, that it's, beneficial to have it.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
Bill, could you tell us a little bit about what y'all going to be doing regionally? Now, as I understand this, y'all be working through the regional commissions. Is that how that process is going to work?
Yeah, we're funding about $1 million project, and each regional commission will get money, right? And over a course of about 3 to 4 months, right, we'll undertake this project to create a digital economic strategy for that region, right? And that brings in private sector business people, brings in public sector government people, brings in citizens, service providers. It brings everybody together to go through a process to develop that strategy, that plan.
Strategy so that eventually, hopefully, all these areas will be covered?
Well, broadband infrastructure is critical. You have to have it or you can't really participate in the digital economy. But you have to have skilled workforce, right, to know how to use technology, right, and you have to have access to funds, right, to get infrastructure and skilled workforce, right, so.
As part of my responsibilities at GMA, I work with the cities in Northwest Georgia, which is what we call District 1. Right. And some of those cities up there actually have their own broadband systems, like Calhoun, Dalton, Cartersville. They're part of this process too?
They will be, yes, all of them will be. So you have Northwest Georgia Planning Commission, which I think covers many of those guys. You have a northeast, you have a Three Rivers, which is down southwest, Atlanta Regional Commission, Central Savannah, Middle Georgia, Heartland. So there's 12 of them total.
Yeah.
But
that's impressive that you know all of those.
I'm getting there.
How can city officials, how can cities be involved in what the authority is trying to do and help? Where are opportunities for partnerships
we do outreach to everybody that we know of who has fiber networks, who provides broadband service either to government only or government and business or even to consumers, households, right? And we want to put them in the map because it's very useful and informative for people who are doing planning, who are trying to determine where should we focus our efforts and our investments, right, when you know where there isn't any, right? So it would be great if all the cities and the counties and the state who have fiber networks, even if they're just providing it to themselves, right?
Okay. So they don't have to actually have customers. It could just be the city hall has got
could be
fiber
just for
going
themselves.
to the schools, going to the
It
fire
helps us
station.
create a more complete picture of what is the capacity, the broadband capacity of the state. because we don't want to waste money in people's efforts if it's already there and it's already providing service, right? So that'd be great.
From an economic development perspective, I mean, like I said, I'm familiar with Northwest Georgia, which fortunately is a prosperous area of our state.
Right.
But would you say that the areas that lack the broadband are somewhat disadvantaged in our economy?
They're at a competitive disadvantage. You know, broadband is not the end-all be-all. If you look at what factors cause companies to relocate, right? Broadband's actually in the top 5 now, right? But it's just one factor in many, right? So for companies relocating, right? And, you know, for companies setting up shop and starting up, you know, it's like tax, you know, cost of land, but broadband is critical, and if you don't have broadband, it's like you don't have a road, so, or you don't have electricity, so.
I think one thing that's interesting is we're focusing on our convention here on the next generation. That's the theme of our convention. Was talking to a demographer earlier this year about what are some of the things that the next generation is interested in, and he said, you know, wireless.
Right.
Being able to have wireless access, that it's just such a way of life for young people.
Oh yeah, well, even for us. I mean, I have fiber into my house, but from there it's wireless throughout the house because of the convenience. I'll take a step down in speed to my devices, my laptop, my desktop, you know, whatever, because of the convenience. So
now that you've brought up speed, can we talk a little bit about what kind of broadband speeds are adequate? That's always confusing to me.
Okay, well, there's no one size fits all, right? So for us as consumers, if you want to do Netflix, right, you really need 3 megabits down and 1 megabit up, right? So the current government definition of what qualifies as broadband is 3 megabits down and 1 megabit up. Now, it used to be 1 meg down and 768, which is about a third of that, right? So applications, as they become more complex, move more media, right? Requires more bandwidth. So to do the basic function you expect to do today, you know, a year and a half, 2 years from now, it's probably going to need to be faster. Now, if you're a doctor's office and you have 10 doctors and you're moving electronic, you know, health records around, well, you need 20 meg in both directions, right? If you're doing telemedicine, you know, you need a certain, so it depends on what are you doing, right? If you're a big business, you know, 100 megabits, a gigabit. You know, if you're a studio, movie studio, and you're doing graphically intensive work, and you're moving that,
industry here in Georgia.
File, yeah, exactly. So it depends on what you're doing, but again, I think, you know, if you look at our maps, where there's 3 meg down and 1 meg up for households, is a lot smaller area than where there's 1 meg down, right, and 768 kilobits up, which is a slower speed, right? So. Yeah,
and I know that Google is working with some cities in, I think, Kansas and in North Carolina, and I believe they're also working with the city of Douglasville,
who is actually doing our broadcast
exactly
today.
Right.
Are you familiar with that project?
I've heard about it, but I don't know the details. And there was there's several cities who are basically, it's, you know, self-reliance, right? Grassroots, you know, we're going to partner with somebody if they're interested, but if they're not, you know, that's the cool part about Georgia is that, you know, people will take action in Georgia.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. They don't sit around and wait.
Which is great. I mean, you know, so yeah, I mean, if Douglasville's doing a deal, that's fabulous. I mean, you know, get more capacity, get more speed.
Well, and I think that our understanding of broadband and technology has changed to where once upon a time it may have been a luxury, like, hey, isn't this a cool thing, to where it really is an economic necessity for, you know, obviously the state has seen that by investing in what they're doing.
Right. And Georgia's actually got a lot of innovators. I mean, Georgia's a leader in the country in telemedicine. You know, there's a firm who launched last week called Crowd Fiber, which is a model and a platform, a software service where a community can run a campaign and raise money and then offer to service providers, look how much we've raised, right? So, you know, say a company hasn't built into that neighborhood, right? And they're just not going to make that investment. Well, the citizens can entice them by saying, okay, we ran a campaign, we've raised $5,000, right? Come build it, right? That's pretty cool, and that's a Georgia company.
Wow, that is interesting.
Yeah, very cool. That might really take off.
So if cities want to get in touch with y'all, how do they do so? Obviously over the internet.
You know, my email address is bill.price@gta.ga.gov. That's the quickest way to do it, right? And I can't remember what my phone number is. I'd give you that. But you know what it is.
Yeah, I know how to find Bill.
We'll get in touch
wife
with
has
you.
got it. So.
Yeah.
Bill, we appreciate you being
Okay.
here today and
Thanks
sharing
for
this
having me.
information. And you're going to
Cool.
be in one of the policy committee meetings
Yes.
tomorrow
You
as
bet.
well. So
I will.
look forward to hearing more about what y'all are up to at the
Thank you very much.
Technology Authority.
Thanks for
Thank
coming
you.
to Savannah on
Thanks,
our
Lee.
behalf.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Appreciate it.